Introductory courses are most traditionally about breadth, about covering lots of different topics. They tend to be getting information and retaining information.
At Wesleyan University, they're piloting a new approach.
What I'd like you guys to do is to create a video that reenacts a social psychology principle.
One section of the Introduction to Psychology course uses digital tools in real-world contexts to explore and expand on disciplinary concepts through problems, projects, inquiry, and design.
So the project was, we were supposed to look at a part of the brain and some function that the brain does, and we were supposed to walk through like what we would do to create a learning video. So what I chose to do was action potentials, which are basically how our neurons communicate with each other.
Through a series of carefully designed projects, students independently explore concepts and content in psychology. They use digital media creatively to develop and share content.
So for the visual perception, we had them create 5 photographs that really told a story using different perceptual principles. They took photographs and then also brought them into Photoshop and worked again on sort of changing the perception of these photographs by using that particular tool.
So the assignment was to do a story with our photographs. Yeah, my project is someone losing their notebook, and we took like action shots of the notebook falling out of the person's backpack, which is really cool. I changed the color of the reds in the notebook, and I did certain things in Photoshop to like make the redness of the notebook more pronounced. It's more of a hands-on approach, which is something I like better than a lecture. You're not just listening to it happen, you're doing this stuff yourself. Like learning through projects rather than sitting in a lecture makes it more applicable to yourself.
Students don't mind struggle when it's productive. And I think that's one of the things we're trying to do here. Not just create a situation or a context of struggle, but to create one of productive struggle in which the struggle really has a payoff, in which they get to work on projects of meaning to them. But at the same time, they have the opportunity to get exposure to the kinds of skills that will empower them in their careers in the future.
So basically for our project, what was the most important lesson or like the most significant lesson that we've ever learned, and then related to like a psychological perspective. Through this video, I was exploring like when I basically realized like the color of my skin that like made me different than other people was through those different types of behavior, like having those conversations with my parents, having conversations like in my like boarding school. Like I was juxtaposing like the very hard conversation I was having about race with just like me like walking to school like at Wesleyan.
Key innovations include project-based learning that utilizes digital skills as a window into core psychology concepts, a collaborative model of instruction and individualized support, learning by teaching, and access and application of leading tools and software platforms that empower students to enter the digital workforce.
So the assignment was to make a video talking about the learning experience we had in our lives, and then we had to relate it to a learning theory of psychology. So the learning theory I chose was constructivism, which is learning through practice, which is also what I was doing in this video.
According to constructivism, learning is an active process. A learner doesn't gain knowledge passively, but constructs it through active engagement. While experimenting, the learner brings in past experiences to solve new problems and create conclusions. This can be seen in every stage of my video making.
A mistake I made was in this video. I have way too much green. And like I knew that in theory, but I didn't know that in practice.
I think there's a lot to be gained from getting it wrong before you get it right. And in the ways that these projects create that possibility, I think that the details are not as important.
They understand that this is all a learning process, so like even if the finished project isn't like perfect, like it's not gonna win a Tony or like it's not gonna win an Academy Award, like they're gonna like really applaud you for like the efforts that you made, and like as long as you know that you tried hard, then that's all that really matters. And I like the finished product for this video.
I had so much fun doing it, and seeing the result, I really like it.
Hola. Hola. Hola.
learning is incredibly personal. And I am starting to realize, even more than I did when I started this class, but just by interacting with these wonderful students, that the more personal it is, the deeper we go, the more interesting the conversations become, the more things that are actually tied to content that can be brought into the conversation.
Being a more personal project makes it easier to remember, rather than if it's some concept that we feel like it has nothing to do with us. Like some people would say, oh, why am I memorizing this? What is this going to help me in my life? Well, if it's something about where you feel like it's about you too, that makes it important.
What do you think is a more powerful force in human experience, in the universe, in life, your personal world, like however you want to consider it?
Sure.
What's a more powerful force? Love or hate?
Shit.
Yeah.
Each project encourages students to relate their own experiences to concepts in introductory psychology. This is supported by comprehensive reading and online learning. This course uses digital media to foster more engagement and better retention of learned concepts. It's a unique opportunity to get hooked on the power and excitement of digital application, regardless of level of preparation, learning style, or initial interest.
When I think of psychology anyway, I think of just like textbooks.
What I learned will stick with me longer. I think what we sometimes forget about learning is that the hope is that you remember it past the test. And I don't think that many people will remember anything past the test.
It's just a more intimate environment to be learning in.
Because it was really personal and also really creative.
It's gotten me out and it's gotten me asking and engaging with the question.
Like I need to do something. I need to be active and it'll help me learn.
It's just a matter of fulfillment, personal fulfillment, and personal success, and sort of setting goals for yourself.
It's all because of its project-based sort of style.
I'd rather make projects rather than memorize something for an exam. This was the perfect course for me, yeah.